Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's DealerOn webinar, the cutting-edge conversion strategies you should be using. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. Today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. For anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our amazing SEO, the best customer service, and the highest converting website designs in the industry, including the award-winning Chameleon Responsive Website Platform. Hey, you know what? We just got back from NADA, where we were awarded the Driving Sales Dealer Satisfaction Award for the top-rated websites for an unprecedented 6th year in a row. We also took home the AWA Award for Best Websites. Plus, FCA announced that we are now an approved vendor. Let me tell you, we're starting off this 2017 right, and we're still the only company in the industry that offers a money-back lead guarantee program. Do you want to know more? Yeah, you do. You can check us out at DealerOn.com. Also, DealerOn is going to be exhibiting and presenting at the upcoming Digital Dealer Convention April 11th through the 13th in Tampa, Florida. If you're going to be there, please stop by booth 411 and say hi. I'm going to be there. And you can also check out the incredible speaking sessions by Greg Gifford and Sean Range. Remember, it's booth 411. We hope to see you there. We have a great show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have Ron Morrison as our presenter today. Ron Morrison is the CEO of Pure Influencer, a conversion agency that effectively influences shoppers to do business with its dealer clients sooner, more frequently, and with greater profitability. Ron is a familiar face and voice in the automotive marketing and has helped countless dealerships grow their sales and service businesses to produce increased revenue. With over 24 years of experience in delivering profitable results, sustained incremental and recurring revenue, and building long-term relationships, he is regarded as an exceptional marketing and business development executive. Ron is an entrepreneur, a visionary sales leader, and a respected member of the automotive community, and he can be reached at Ron Morrison at pureinfluencer.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, we're going to try to respond by email later today. And don't forget, a link to download a copy of the webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today for your reference, and feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. And guess what? Our good friends at Pure Influencer, they're giving away some amazing prizes today on the webinar. First, 2 lucky webinar attendees are going to win a Pure Influencer coffee mug. Then, wow, 1 of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win 1 free month of Live Offer, the conversion platform that helps your dealership convert more visitors and sell more cars. With Live Offer, you customize and manage a conversion strategy that's optimized for your dealership's unique value propositions and laser focused on your highly engaged visitors. This prize, it's valued at $995. Woo! Awesome prize for you and your dealership. You have to be on the live broadcast to win it, though, so stay tuned for your chance to walk away with one of these amazing prizes today. Also, at the conclusion of this webinar, you're going to get a short survey, so fill it out because we're always looking for quality feedback from our audience, and we want to know what you thought of today's presentation. And hey, do you tweet much? We hope you do. We love to see what you have to say about today's presentation, so tag us in it. You can use hashtag DealerOnWebby. I'm at Eliana Raggio. You can also hit up Ron Morrison at, you guessed it, Ron Morrison. We look forward to seeing what you're saying. All right, everyone, let's get started. Let's learn the cutting-edge conversion strategies you should be using. Well, hey there, Ron. First-time, long-time listener, first-time presenter. I love it. How are you, sir?
I'm absolutely spectacular. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. By the way, AJ says you have a great haircut. You have the same haircut as him. You know what? If everyone caught the headshot earlier, you know exactly who I'm talking about. All right. So, Ron, thank you so much for being here. And I'll tell you, us over here at DealerOn, we love hearing about good conversion strategies. So thank you so much for bringing this to us today. And I know you have a lot to get to. Where do we go? What do we do? What are we going to be talking about today?
Well, here's what we're going to talk about, and thanks again for the opportunity. We're going to talk about selling more cars, really. That's the objective when we're talking about conversion strategies. We're going to take a look at some things called shifts in automotive retail. We're certainly going to talk about web traffic. We're going to talk about lead to sales rates. And then we're going to talk about engaged visitors and how to convert those engaged visitors. We're going to go to a lab. We've got a fun little lab where we can look at sales impacts and profit impacts on conversion. And then we're going to talk about influencing those engaged visitors. We'll look at a couple of conversion platforms And we'll have a giveaway, and then we'll talk about any questions, and we'll answer them as well. So that's what we're going to get started with.
I
Here we
think
go.
that's great. And by the way, Kathy said that she just signed up with you guys at Pure Influencer, and she's excited to see this presentation. So let's do this.
Let's rock and roll. Rock and roll. All right, so the number one goal when it comes to conversion, our goal for today's discussion and our goal for conversion is selling more cars. We're not talking about more clicks. We're not talking about more attribution. We're not talking about data or analytics. We're talking about what really matters, selling more cars. It should be your first goal. And the goal in selling more cars should happen by converting more quality website traffic to quality leads. The second goal, of course, is for us at the end of this presentation to have a stronger appreciation for driving more quality conversions. And when it comes to conversions, lots of people talk about what a conversion is. And there are many different elements or versions of a conversion, right? There's lead form submissions, there's phone calls, there's chats, there's texts, there's social shares, there's map prints, lots more. And really what matters to you most is what's the objective of your campaign. For example, let's talk about map prints for a moment. If you opened up a satellite service department that happened to be 10 miles away from your dealership, you might want to execute a campaign and see if people are printing maps to find out where to go. So in that context, maybe a map print might be the right conversion metric. Today we're going to talk about, in terms of selling more cars, is lead form submissions, right? So we're going to talk about that. And before we get too deep in that regard, we're going to talk about some undeniable shifts in automotive retail today, because it's important to understand that the landscape has not going to change, it has already changed, and it changes on a regular and frequent basis. The first thing that's really dramatic in our space today is we're a mobile-first environment. Everything happens, for the most part, in a mobile environment, be it tablet or smartphone first. And so our marketing campaigns and our conversion strategies need to think in that context. The second undeniable shift, of course, is Google's right move by removing the right rail. In that way, they made it very easy for consumers, regardless of their platform, regardless of their device, regardless of their browser, very easy to find and navigate and get to what they want to get to very quickly, particularly in automotive, right? So it's made it it's put more information in your consumer's hands faster and easier than it ever was before. So we call that the right move. And then back in 2015, Cox did us a favor by putting out a wonderful study that talked about some things that happen on the internet with respect to automotive buyers and shoppers, etc. One of the things they told us is something we've always known for a long time, for decades, which was that the internet is the top source used for shopping. Duh, of course, right? We've always known that. That's not a surprise. But here's what a surprise was to me. The internet is the most effective source leading someone into your showroom. 30% of the people that are in your showroom are there because of what they saw or what they experienced on the internet. And the reason it was shocking to me is it's significantly larger than prior experience with your dealership. Think about that for a moment. We can take great care of our customer, give them a world-class experience, and when they're ready for their next vehicle, what they see and or hear or read on the internet dictates heavily where they're going to go to next. I mean, contrast that with direct mail, newspaper, television, radio, magazine, all combined. What is that, 7%? Compared to 37% of what happens on the internet. So that's a major shift in our industry that's very different than what happened a couple of years ago. And so our marketing strategies, our conversion strategies need to be cognizant of that fact. And then, of course, lots of people like to talk about thinking with Google. What I like to say is, yeah, it's nice to think with Google, but it's more important to believe Google. And Google basically put out a wonderful study, an online automotive shopper study early last year. They continue to do that. They continue to point out all kinds of interesting things. And one of their online shopper studies, which, by the way, I'll give you a link to at the end of the presentation, talked about things like where I should buy moments, is it right for me moments, those sorts of things. And one of the shoppers that Google tracked along the way had over 900 plus digital interaction points. 900 plus. And as we read that study, as we read some of their other articles, as we look at the articles put out by Cox and others, what we basically find is that customers are going to find us today, particularly in automotive retail, whether you like it or not, Mr. Dealer. It's too easy, and it's what they do, and it's how they find information. Regardless of your search engine marketing strategies, when somebody, for example, wants to buy a 2017 Toyota Camry, if you've got one and you're a retailer, they're going to find you whether you like it or not. So it's important to understand that you've got more traffic, significantly more traffic, organically and direct than you'll ever have with paid search. On average, between 70 to 75% of your human traffic, not bot, and certainly not service traffic, 70-75% of your sales traffic are there organically. They chose to be there through organic and or direct links. So they're going to find you whether you like it or not. Traffic's not our problem. As a matter of fact, conversion is. Conversion, not traffic, is our challenge. Buying a car from your dealership was great, except that you were so difficult to find on the internet. Said no person ever. You won't find a review anywhere that complained about how difficult it was to find you. So that's not the issue. The issue isn't traffic. The issue is converting the quality traffic that's on our site. Yes, without question, some dealerships need more website traffic. You might have a new point. You might have a strategy that caused all kinds of challenges in the past. So yes, it's true that some dealerships need more, keyword more, website traffic, but you need quality traffic. Yes, some dealerships need even more leads. We would argue that fewer leads, when you consider opportunity costs, would make you more profitable. But it is true, some dealerships need more quality leads. All dealerships need higher lead to sales rates. That's one thing that is true across the board. All dealerships need higher lead to sales rates. The 10% industry average is just that. It is average. When you yell about and you brag about your 10% lead to sales rate, what you're saying is you are the best of the worst. You are the worst of the best. You are average. And I know that the people on this call don't accept average. And so we can all do better than a 10% industry average, particularly when we've got a lot of people that organically chose to be on our website. They wanted to be there. They're interested in the opportunity or the product that we have. And we can certainly do a better job than 10% industry average. So how do we do that? The first thing is we need to focus on our lead to sales rate. Who's responsible for the lead to sales rate in your dealership? Is it the e-commerce director? Is it your internet manager? Is it your sales manager? Is it your BDC manager? Is it your general manager, dealer principal? Who's responsible? We would argue without question that the general manager, your general manager, first and foremost, should be as accountable to that number as he or she is accountable to your total monthly new and used sales number, your total monthly new and used gross profit number, your net profit number. The general manager is first and foremost responsible for the 10% and or better lead to sales rate. What the general manager needs to do is lead in that regard. And by leading, what we mean is set an internet sales volume and set an internet sales rate monthly objective and hold your managers accountable to that objective. It sounds a little bit like this. This month, we're going to sell 150 cars from the leads we get on the internet. And we're going to close, our close rate is going to be 15% this month. And managers, Joe, Sue, Bob, Tom, you guys are responsible for making sure we meet those numbers. That's what it sounds like. That's leadership and accountability around a lead to sales rate. The second thing you need to do is make sure there's a clean and effective, measurable lead to sales response strategy. If you're going to have an increased sales rate and focus on that monthly objective growing, then that strategy needs to be measurable, it needs to be repeatable, and so you want to leverage the professionals out there that can help you get insight into how to do that. David Kane, one of them, Elise Kephart, the Kephart Experience, Brian Posh, Glenn Posh at the PCG Group, absolutely phenomenal in helping you implement clean, effective, measurable strategies so that you can grow your lead to sales rate. And then, of course, identify poor performing campaigns. Opportunity costs will be the theme come mid-year and certainly moving into the next. Opportunity costs. You have 5, 10, 15 people in your BDC. You have a fixed number of hours. And every time they're chasing down poor performing leads in poor performing campaigns, it costs you real time and real money and real opportunities. Click-through rates, cost per clicks, bounce rate, those are declarations of the past. Those are notions and metrics that we used to use a long time ago, like 2015. They matter less today than engagement metrics. And the PCG engagement project, by the way, I'd encourage everybody to participate, is doing a world-class job in moving the dealer body into metrics that really matter, that translates into sales dollars and opportunity. Things like CPE, cost per engagement, engagement per session, zero engagement per page, and most importantly, form completion rate. Those are things that we should be focused on, because remember, we have far more opportunities on our website than we can handle. So we need to focus on those engagement metrics rather than traffic metrics. And then, of course, use conversion tools to drive engaged leads, not just more leads, right? Your best audience is your website, right? Your audience is no longer sitting on the couch watching the television. Your best audience are the people that voluntarily, organically chose to be in one area, and you can see them all. And that one area is your website. That is your very best audience. So when you think about marketing, when you think about audience, when you think about medium, and you think about message, if your very best audience voluntarily is on your website, what's the message that you're giving to that audience? Are you trying to communicate to that audience? Are you communicating to that audience as if they all are there for the same reason? Think about that, and then think about conversion tools to drive those engaged leads from that audience. And we talk about engaged leads, and this may be a new notion to some of us. And what's an engaged website visitor? Well, an engaged website visitor is vastly different than somebody that's just there checking price, features, color, and then they're gone. Or maybe like most paid search campaigns, if you've read some of Brian Posh's stuff lately, and others, most paid search campaigns find that 80% of the people from a sales paid search campaign is simply looking for the service department phone number, right? So what's an engaged visitor? Engaged visitor is someone who spends quality time reviewing one or more of your vehicles on your website. They're engaged with buying a product from you. They've returned to your website multiple times in the last day, the week, the month. They've had multiple sessions. And by the way, 3 sessions in a day is a vastly different engaged person than 3 sessions in a week versus 3 sessions in a month or a year, etc. And generally speaking, this is a generalization, an engaged visitor is somebody that's not naturally converted to a lead on your website. They may be reluctant, they may be indecisive. Typically millennials are really trying to find out what's the best, where should I buy, what's the best product for me, and they know that there's so much information available to them, they'd rather quickly go through their homework, so they're not necessarily converted to a lead on your website. In some cases, they have. Perhaps they converted to a lead a month ago or a couple of weeks ago, and they weren't as engaged, but now they're on your website today, last night, etc., and they're significantly more engaged than they were in the past, right? And so, Eliana, I think right now would be the perfect time to have a poll question.
I agree with you. All right, audience. Guess what? We have 3 poll questions for you. The first one is on your screen right now. We'd love it if you take part in our poll question. It really helps us out. So the question is, what percentage of visitors to your dealership website do you think are highly engaged visitors? Please select one of the following. Do you think, maybe you don't know. So the first answer is, I don't know. Maybe it's around 5%. Do you think it's about 20% of your visitors, 50% of your monthly website visitors? Or the last answer, does it really matter? Once we get a majority of the votes in, we're going to close this poll and share the results. Of course, I want to encourage everyone, if you have a question for Ron Morrison, CEO of Pure Influencer, about today's subject, or really anything having to do with conversion. Hey, we'd love to hear from you. We're going to be getting to the Q&A session after his presentation, and we want to get your questions in, so please do not hesitate to send in your questions. All right, those votes are coming in so nice and fast. Audience, thank you so much. One more time, the question is, what percentage of visitors to your dealership website do you think are highly engaged visitors? Did you hit the wrong button on the survey, AJ? I mean, how far off could it be? What did you say?
He said 4.5.
Did he? Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to close this poll now. I'll forgive you this time, AJ, but you know what? We have 2 more poll questions coming at you a little bit later on, so don't let it happen again. All right, pal? All right, here we go. So today's audience was very active. 32% of today's audience admit they don't know how many of the visitors that come to their dealership website are highly engaged. 18% of today's audience say they think it's around 5%, and the majority, 39% of today's audience, believe it's as high as 20%. So Ron, Do we know this answer? Is there a way to figure it out? Are you going to be able to tell us what the percentage is?
We do know the answer, and one thing I'd like to do is compliment the people who said they don't know, because oftentimes that leads to real good decision making when you're honest about something and say, I don't know, please tell me. And here's the answer. We know exactly what it is, and the answer is that it's 20% of our engaged traffic. But before we get there, let's talk about what an engaged website visitor really is. And again, a highly engaged visitor is most likely shopping you. They're clearly most likely shopping the competitors, the OEMs. You know, I always chuckle when we think about our pre-owned vehicle pricing tools. Great tools like Auto and things like, you know, AAX and other tools that help us do online pricing, right? And we use those tools because we know, meaning dealers, dealers believe and know that the consumer is shopping us and shopping the competition. That's one of the reasons that we use those tools, to make sure that a pre-owned vehicle is priced relative to the market, and that just makes sense. We believe the pre-owned customer does that, but for some reason we stick our head in the sand and say, oh no, the new car person doesn't visit other sites. He just comes directly to our site, finds a price, yells across to his house, across the house to his spouse that says, sweetheart, I found a car for $30,000, grab your purse, we're going to run down there and get that. That's just not how people behave. Remember, it's important that we believe Google. So an engaged visitor has a lot of, leaves a lot of trails. There's a lot of behavior, and when you look at engagement tools or conversion platforms, you want to make sure you're leveraging one that has many algorithm elements. For example, session duration, the sequence of vehicles that they look at, the persistency of that, the total time on their site, time away from your site in a day, time away from your site in a week and a month, the mobile page duration and specials pages. All of these things are clearly indicative of various buying or engagement behavior, and that's what we use. We use these elements to measure the engagement behavior on a website. On average, 20% of the dealers that we look at, and we look at many on a regular basis, has engaged traffic about 20%. And we look at all kinds of metrics, and these are just a few. We look at new versus returning visitors. We look at session duration of people that are spending 5 minutes or more, 10 minutes or more, 15 minutes or more. We look at page sequence. We look at visits by product. We look at those types of scores. And we're able to assess the engagement level of a dealer's website traffic. And on average, 20% of your traffic, your sales traffic, is an engaged shopper, right? So let's break that 20% engagement number down for you to put it in perspective. So let's say you're a website that has, 10,000 monthly unique visitors, right? We're just going to use that number for a moment. And we know that 20% of those 10,000 visitors are highly engaged visitors, and so there's 2,000 of them. And by engaged, what we mean is they're going to engage with one or more dealers in your district, or a third party or an OEM in your district, and buy a vehicle in the next 30 to 60 days. That's what those engaged visitors are doing, right? They're going to try to do that. Some of them may qualify, some may decide to get another vehicle, some of them may brand defect, all sorts of things. But that's what those engaged visitors are doing. They're not there looking for televisions or bread or movie tickets. They're in there looking for shiny metal cars that go 70,000 70,000 miles before their first visit, what have you. So they're highly engaged visitors, right? Now, let's take a look at our average 2% of monthly unique conversions. We all know that the average website converts between 1.5% to 3%. So let's say 2% of your monthly unique visitors are converting to leads. So you've got 200 leads. Great. You've got a website that converts at 2%. You've got 200 leads in your internet department, and they do an average job, there's that number again, of 10% lead to sales rate. And by the way, those of you that are doing better than 10%, hats off and major applause to you for focusing on that. We've got a lot of clients that do that. As a matter of fact, we've got a client that expects and lives in the 25% range, and it's just absolutely fantastic to see that kind of leadership around lead to sales rates. But let's take that average number of 10%. So there it is. We've got 10,000 unique vehicles, and we can attribute 20 sales out of that traffic. That's great. Let's take a look at that 20% engagement visitor number a little bit closer. What those 20 deals mean is that you only have a 1% sales rate of your engaged visitor. Out of 2,000 people who want your brand, they are on your site, you sold 20. And worse, you ask for more traffic, right? Hey, Mr. Dealer, I think we need more traffic. Hey, Mr. Marketing Vendor, hey, can you help me get more traffic? We've got 1% of our engaged visitors, and we think the solution is more traffic. It's like becoming a general manager of a dealership, and the owner says, "Well, geez, what was our showroom traffic?" And I said, "Oh, boss, I don't know, about 800." And he says, "Well, how many cars we sell?" I go, "No, about 80." He says, "Well, geez, that's a 10% number. We got to improve." And I say to him, "Great, can we increase our advertising budget?" He'd probably shoot me in the head, right? That's the same idea here. We've got only 1% sales rate of our engaged visitor, and we're trying to drive more traffic. Remember, it's important to not just think with Google. It's important to believe Google about shopper behavior. They know it better than anyone else. And they show us over and over again that an engaged buyer, an engaged automotive visitor is visiting multiple sites. He's visiting your site frequently. He's visiting your competition. He's visiting the off-brand, the third party, the OEM. And when he gets to your site, do you know it? And when he is there, are you doing anything about it? And are you doing something manual? Are you doing something automatic? Are you doing something that's identical to your competitor so that he doesn't see any variation in the offer? Right? So it's important to believe that a shopper will visit many touch points, particularly when they're engaged. So, Eliana, let's try another poll question.
Geez, Ron, hitting us over the head with some common sense here. Yeah, all right. I never, all my webinars, I've never had somebody say it like that, but you're absolutely right. We should be more concerned with conversion. So, audience, second poll question here for you now. We want you to be honest. How would you rate the current conversion performance on your dealership website? Please select one of the following. You think it's awesome? You are conversion ninjas? Do you think you're pretty good, but you're always looking to improve? Do you think you're meh, about average? Yeah, you could use some help. Oh, geez, our conversion's in the crapper, or you know what? Stop all this. We just need more traffic. If we had more traffic, we'd sell more cars. That's all we need. All right? So, all right. So once we get a majority of the votes are coming in fast. Thank you, audience. Once we get a majority of those votes in, we're going to close the poll and share the results. And I'm curious, Ron, I mean, you talk to a lot of dealers. Is it that dealers do often ask, no, I just need more traffic? Or do they see the light and see that, hey, 4,000 unique visitors a month that's a nice chunk of traffic. You just need to close more of them.
Eliana, it's a great question, and I wish I could tell the audience that was a staged question, but it's not, and it's a rather spur of the moment. So I'll tell you, it's disconcerting how many dealers today believe their issue is a traffic issue. And I think part of it is, we've not had enough discussion around conversion and engagement and the reality of engaged visitors. And then the other part of it is we as vendors that sell marketing services, and I'm going to be the first to raise my hand and say that I'm guilty of this. We just said, hey, listen, in order for us to make a buck, we got to sell the dealer on the idea that he needs more traffic, right? And there are a lot of us that use all sorts of tools, all sorts of reports, wave fancy awards in front of the dealer and says, hey, listen to me, you need more traffic. The reality is he needs more market share. The reality is he needs more sales, and the way to do that is convert those people that are already engaged.
All right. Thank you so much. This is really getting interesting now, Ron. All right. So let's close this poll, audience. Thank you so much for your votes. Let's close this poll and share the results. All right. Only 4% of today's audience said that they're awesome and they're conversion ninjas. 36% of today's audience think that they're pretty good at conversion. They're always looking to improve, though. And the majority, 40% of today's audience say, we're about average. We know we could use some help. All right. So what do you think about that, Ron? That's about right, don't you think?
I think it's about right. Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to see that nobody said we need more traffic.
I think you convinced him on the last slide.
At this point in the presentation, had they said that, we just all have to go get Starbucks coffee and call it a day. Thank you, audience, for that participating in that poll. Okay, so all right. So here's a fun rule, and here's a rule that although you're going to get this slide let me encourage you to write it down so that maybe you get some muscle memory. Maybe it causes you to think about this. And I'm going to go through this rule a couple of times. This is the 2% conversion rule. No, it's not the Ron Morrison conversion rule. But if you'd like to give me attribution to that, that would be wonderful.
Or, Eliana Raggio conversion rule. I'm okay with that too. Go ahead.
There's a guy a lot smarter than me that helped me understand. His name's Ryan Jenkins, by the way. And truth, for years arguing until this rule was established, and this rule is irrefutable. Any 2% increase in your conversion rate of engaged visitors sells more cars than any 20% increase in quality website traffic. I'll tell you again. Any 2% increase in conversion rate of engaged visitors sells more cars than any 20% increase in quality website traffic. That's just a fact. And it would probably do all of us dealers some good to have this on a 3x5 card to slide across the table the next time we have a marketing vendor trying to tell us we need more traffic. It would be a great thing to remember to say, hey, listen, we need to keep our eyes focused on increasing conversion rate of engaged visitors rather than driving more traffic. Rule number one, we've got far more traffic than we already need, right, on every website. So to prove this, let's talk about traffic versus engaged visitors for a second. Again, your website has thousands of unique visitors. However, there's not as many when you include the nefarious machine traffic and bots that are there. By the way, through no fault of your own or no fault of a particular vendor. They're just things that happen either accidentally for the most part or intentionally, but they drive more machine traffic to your site than others, right? So that's problematic because it affects math, it affects algorithms, and all sorts of things. And then, of course, there's fewer still that are highly engaged. That's what we want to focus on. We want to focus on those people. For example, giving you the showroom version of it, there are people in the showroom, there are people on the lot. And there are people walking by your dealership. Where should you pay your attention? You should pay your attention on people that are highly engaged, right? And so same concept online. We want to focus, we want to identify those engaged visitors, and we want to focus on them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to a conversion lab to talk about it, right? So here's a lab, and we've got a couple of tools that we use to help dealers really assess what is in their best interest. And so, do you remember the 2% rule, Eliana? You remember what that is?
2%. Yep.
Yeah. 2% increase in conversion, right? Of engaged visitors sells more cars than any 20% increase in quality traffic.
Right.
So let's find out for Mr. XYZ Honda if in fact this is true. In the webinar we're talking about 10,000 unique visitors, so let's stay consistent there. And let's say you've got some fancy digital marketing vendor that can get you all the way down to $2 cost per click in your market, and you're really happy with that. At $2 cost per click, if you want another 20%, you're probably going to need to spend $4,000 would be the budget increase, right? So let's see if, let's calculate that, see if my math is correct. And the answer is yes, there it is. So 2,000 more visitors from that spend. If you have a $2 cost per click, if that's your unique visitors, you're going to pick up another 2,000 people. Now, those of us who have been doing it for a while know that that will not be 2,000 new visitors. We know for certainty that you're going to be cannibalizing organic clicks. What's worse is not only going to cannibalize organic clicks, but you're going to show off reports that you're getting clicks from people that you cannibalize. But I digress. Let's talk about the increase in 2,000 new visitors. And let's take your website conversion rate at 2%. What this calculus is giving you 40 new leads. And with your 10% lead to sales rate, you've got 4 new units at a cost of $1,000 per unit. So the good news is you did what you wanted to accomplish. You moved the needle, and you added 4 new units by increasing your paid search budget so that you got 20% more traffic. So let's see if the 2% conversion rule holds true. So let's compare that with focusing on better conversion. So there's our 10,000 monthly unique visitors. We know that 2,000 of them are engaged. And let's take the consistent 2% conversion rate. Let's just do that. That's 40 leads. And there are many vendors out there that can get you a great tool for around $1,000, right? So there's the leads are consistent, but the difference is, the big difference is a highly engaged visitor converts at a much higher rate. the opportunity cost for you is 2- and 3-fold. We have clients that are converting leads at 30, 35, even at 40%. Why? Because they're focusing on the people that chose to be there to look for their product, and they're now giving that person automatically an incentive that the other dealer hadn't given them, right? So they convert at significantly higher rates. Now you've sold 10 vehicles at a cost per sale per $100 per unit. Same number of monthly unit traffic, a significant lower budget expense, but the strategy is focusing on converting more traffic. Let's look at this differently. Let's look at this the way dealers look at this, right? So here's our 10,000 unique visitors. There's your 2,000 engaged visitors, and there's your friendly 2% conversion rate on your website. And that means you get 200 leads. And of those engaged visitors, if you take those 200 leads and even assume they came from those engaged visitors, which many of them did not, you now have unconverted 1,800 opportunities. There's your 200 leads per month. There's your super 10% average lead to sales rate. There it is, 20 deals. And if you are strong enough to hold $2,000 per copy, then this 10,000 unique visitor and the efforts of your internet sales team is generating $40,000 in total gross. Of course, it's simply generalization. Your numbers will vary with different scenarios, right?
Right.
Now, let's compare the gain, right? So let's take a look at it from a conversion standpoint. So let's bump in the $10,000 here, or 10,000 unique visitors here, rather. There it is. So we still have our engaged visitors. We haven't changed 2% conversion rate. You still have the original leads that you were going to get naturally. There's 1,800 people. But what we've done with the 2% rule is just picked up 40 people. There it is. That's all it is. And with that lead to sales rate, now you've got 28 people. $2,000, $56,000. You got a $16,000 lift just by thinking opportunity cost, just by thinking conversion rate of highly engaged visitors. Matter of fact, let's have the argument that, you know what, maybe if we had added that 20% in traffic, we would be doing a better job. That's what this tool helps us figure out. So let's go add that $2,000. So, okay, great, there's 2,000 unique visitors. There's an additional 2,000 people. Great, we've moved the needle to 48,000, and we still don't come close. Matter of fact, many of our dealers, Eliana and audience, do this. They say, well, wait a minute, if that's true, then maybe I can afford to back down on my spend to drive traffic. Let me see what happens if I have 8,000 unique visitors. And sure enough, you still outperform.
Wow.
So many of our
You're blowing my mind right now, Ron.
so many of our dealers have come to the realization that they can take money from their market spend to drive traffic to focus on converting traffic. Not because it's the perfect thing to do, but because you have more organic traffic that chooses to be there than you'll ever drive traffic, right? So they're already there. It's like the person who has a fishing pond that has all these fish, and he's selling people to come in and buy it, and you can fish in my pond. I've got 5,000 fish there, and you got a salesperson trying to sell him more fish. I already have fish in there, and they're already buying, right? And so you've had this great audience on your website. They're there, and you can really change your budget. Now the question is opportunity cost, right? Which vendors should I consider? Maybe parting ways is the wrong word, but which vendors should I prioritize, or how should I manage my budget? And we get that all the time. A lot of clients will say, okay, cool, I get it, but let me think about, let me take a look and let me try and figure out which vendor I want to either reduce or eliminate, or which vendor I want to spend more money with. Let me go think that out. Let me see how many leads I have, or how many sales, and they try to put reports together. So what we've done is we built a very fun and simple opportunity cost calculator, right? So to protect the innocent, we've removed the names of marketing sources. But let's say, for example, you grab 7 of your different sources, and you can imagine maybe one of them is, you know, Force Super Daddy or Team Victoria or whoever, right? But whatever your lead sources are, and then you put in your monthly cost, you put in the leads that you believe that were specifically attributed to that source. Tough to do, but worth the exercise. And then you then calculate the sales, right? You've got, you know, many of you have CRM tools that'll help you get very, very close to these numbers. These numbers in black are calculated for you. Then you determine the average hours worked per lead. Talk to your internet department. Talk to your teams. Come up with a number. Is it half an hour? Is it an hour? Is it 2 hours? Be honest with yourself, because what you're going to try to do is improve the opportunity cost for everybody, which means you and your internet salespeople will make more money if you can improve the opportunity costs, right? That particular quotient. And then figure out what that labor cost is, etc. Once you've inputted these numbers, now you can use this tool here below to compare one vendor or one source to the other. Say, for example, let's say I wanted to compare source number one, which cost me $2,000, right? So let's say I want to compare source number one to perhaps source number 6 that cost me $3,000, and I only get one sale, right? You can certainly do that, and you can enter those different sources, and you can figure out the difference in sales, the difference in hours spent, the difference in cost, etc. And you can continue to compare one vendor versus the other, and it helps you understand really what your opportunity costs are in that regard. And what's cool about it is once you look at these numbers, if you're looking for the scientific way to express this answer, we've built the scientific statement for you automatically. So here it is. The opportunity cost of 40, fill in the blank, whatever vendor that is 130 of the other leads. Or the opportunity cost of one of those vendor leads is 3 of the other vendors. So it's obvious what you would want to do. And then you just go through that process and compare one source versus the other, and it'll help you understand what you want to do with respect to opportunity costs, and then managing and or changing a particularly a different lead source that's actually costing you opportunities rather than help you win them, right? So that's the Conversion Lab, and we certainly have one of those tools, the Opportunity Cost tool, available to you. So Eliana, with that, I'd like to open up to another poll question.
Thank you, sir. Wow. Okay, just so you know, Kayla wrote in. She says, oh my gosh, so much info. I need to see this again and study it a few times. You blew my mind back there, Ron. This is awesome stuff. All right, audience, we have the last poll question on the screen now. We want to know what you think. How much money out of your current monthly marketing budget is spent on improving conversions? Please select one of the following answers. Do you believe it's less than $500? Do you think it's around $1,000? Do you think it might be about $2,000? Do you believe you're spending way too much improving your conversions? Or do you think it's nothing? You didn't even know that was a thing. Improving conversions, what? Once we get a majority of the votes in, we're going to close this poll and share the results. Audience, I hope you're enjoying this presentation as much as I am, because I love this kind of stuff. And I love, Ron, how you're putting it right down to the numbers. So it's kind of foolproof now. The evidence is there. So we have to improve conversion even before we start trying to improve traffic, right? I mean, eventually improve traffic once you get the conversion down and you can handle all the traffic that you already have. But 4,000 unique visitors a month, which is kind of the average, is nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of opportunities for you.
That's a ton of opportunities. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Kathy said, this is great. I need to go work on my website. Thanks, Kathy. All right, the votes are still coming in. Let's see this question again. How much money out of your current monthly marketing budget do you believe is spent on improving conversions? Please select one. Less than $500, about $1,000, around $2,000. Way too much is spent on improving conversion, or nothing. I didn't even know that was a thing. All right, Ron, if you're ready, I will close this poll and share the results.
Here we go.
All right, about 30% of today's audience say they spend less than $500 a month. The majority, wow, 45% say they spend about $1,000 a month. Only 10% of today's audience think it's around $2,000 a month. No one said it was way too much, and 15% of today's audience said they didn't even know that was a thing, improving your conversion.
That's too funny. Oh my! Well, it's not funny. It's something that we all need to focus on, and that's the trend in the market today.
You sold me. That calculator thing was cool as anything. Oh my gosh! Now that you see that you could actually even spend less money and get more of a result simply by improving your conversion is amazing. And I know DealerOn has great conversion on our websites, but I mean, I knew it was important. This is really much more important than I think I had estimated at first. So thank you so much for pointing that out.
You're absolutely welcome. Absolutely welcome. Okay, so we know we need to do it. We know we have engaged visitors on our website. We know our website conversion solution should influence engaged visitors, and so we want to make sure that one of the ways you want to do that is you want to do it algorithmically. Why? Well, first of all, we don't have staff 24/7, right, to identify who's on our website, who's engaged, etc. So we want that to be automatic, want to be timed, etc. So what we want to do is when you serve up an offer, it can be anything, by the way. If you serve up an offer, you want to make sure that you leverage the science of pattern interrupt, right? We've all been taught pattern interrupt in phone training and BDC, etc. So rather than serve up an offer to the wrong person or at the wrong time, make sure your technology has got the right pattern interrupt to serve something, serve an offer. And then, of course, make sure that creative means something so that somebody's actually going to look at it rather than hit the X to get killed and get away with it, or get away from it. And remember, first and foremost, remember early, this is a mobile-first world. So everything that happens in your environment should be mobile first, and it should be dynamic, right? You want it to be mobile first. You want it to be clean. By the way, I'm going to share it with everybody, a link on a study about Google's position on pop-ups and those sorts of things, because that's important. You should understand that and make sure your vendors match and adhere to those rules. You want to make sure when you serve an offer, make it unique to your market. Hey, if you're in Phoenix, make it look like Phoenix. If you're in New York City, make it look like make it relevant to your dealership or relevant to the inside of your showroom. Do something with strong creative relevance so that gives that visitor that millisecond pause to glance at it, and they're forced then, their brain can't not consume whatever your offer is. And of course, make sure your messaging and your offer is credible no matter what you do in terms of offers. You can do all kinds of things. You can identify an engaged visitor, and when you see one, you can offer them additional money on their trade. When you find an engaged visitor on a pre-owned vehicle and they're studying a pre-owned vehicle and they haven't yet converted, you can offer them an additional dollar amount off on a pre-owned. So that once you identify an engaged visitor and you understand the metrics around cost per engagement, you understand zero engagement per page, you understand all those dynamics, and you have a way to then automatically influence them, you should do that in a very clean, elegant way, right? There are a lot of vendors out there that can help you do that, and they do it in a very good way. DealerOn, hands down, does a spectacular job at giving you a website with many intelligent, clean conversion points, conversion strategies, and specifically around converting more engaged visitors, right? PCG company, Brian Posh, Glenn Posh, and their team, this is what they talk about. They're leading the charge on understanding engagement. A lot of vendors talk about bringing engaged visitors to the website, and they bring you more engaged traffic, but yet they can't show you whom is really engaged. Posh's organization does that. You want to talk about training your internet department and helping your internet department make not only significant improvements, but quantum leaps in performance in lead to sales rate, conversion rate, etc. Kane Automotive, David Kane, many of you know him. Obviously, many of you know also Elise Kephart. I believe she's been on to done a webinar with you in the past.
Oh, yes, many times. And they all have. I've been with all of them.
Fantastic. Entice Inc., David Farmer, probably one of the front leaders around understanding conversion, understanding what's happening on your website. Lots of tools that are natural and organic that complement each other to help you dramatically increase the conversion rate of your website. And we do too, right? That's what we do. We're focused on it. We have a product like Ileana mentioned early on called the Live Offer Platform. Won't spend a lot of time on it, but we've got a fully customizable plug-and-play solution that in real time lets you know what your offers are, your leads, by sales, by service, what have you. Dynamic libraries. We've got a learning algorithm that takes any template and builds a template and makes sure that you're serving offers at the right time and making sure your offers are relevant to you, right? Not a static offer that one dealer uses and the next dealer uses the same offer. It's a relevant that respects your inventory, respects your pricing strategies, your marketing strategies, a lot of customized layouts, platform reporting, etc. By the way, those of you that said $1,000, interesting number. We charge $750 to make sure we set up your website and do all the things that we need to do. We'll have that conversation here. And then it's $9.95 a month. However, for those people on the webinar special, if your name's on that spreadsheet and you want to take advantage of it, you get it for $100 a month less for the rest of your life. You get this full live offer platform. So that's pretty exciting. And by the way, there's certainly no long-term contracts. It's something you can try and experience and move forward. So I've got some suggested resources as promised. One of the things that I encourage you to do is read Time to Improve, or give it to your dealer principal or your general manager. It's a blog I wrote that says 98%, that's terrible. We have a 98% fail rate on our website. Let's not look at 2% conversion. Let's call it what it is. 98% of the time, the person goes somewhere else. So let's solve that. Please read Google's car buying study process. Believe it, understand it, read it a few times, really absorb what the message is. And the message in general is an online shopper who wants to buy a car is going to find your website no matter what you do. So since they're going to get here, what are you going to do to be prepared to convert that lead into a quality lead so that your internet department can affect a strategy that has a strong lead to sales rate when you sell that car? A lot of people, you'll get internet marketers, managers, website people that says, hey, well, Google says if you put a pop-up on your website, it's not going to work. Well, yeah, that's called half reading. Read the entire article, understand what Google's really doing, and by the way, pay strong respect to that, right? We don't want to interrupt a user's experience. We don't want to make a mobile user's experience poor. So it's a good move that Google did, and we, Pure Influencer, applaud them for that. But make sure you understand really what that impact is. And if you haven't already looked up, or if you're not part of the PCG engagement project, I strongly recommend that you do. We give you a link there to their site. Go see what they're talking about when it comes to engagement metrics, etc., because those things are critical and they're really going to matter or help determine what your conversion rates are and your sales rates are moving forward. So we showed you an opportunity cost calculator. So here's some action items we'd like you to take. I'd like you to go back to your stores, if you're not in your stores already, I apologize, and generate a lead source and a close report for the last 90 days. Look at all your sources and run a report for the last 90 days. Your CRM tool can help you do that, or maybe somebody in your CRM support team can help you do that. And identify all those sources with less than a 7% close ratio. Start there. And then you can do a 10% close ratio, and then a 15%, and you can continue to do that. And then use the opportunity cost calculator to understand your dealership's opportunity costs per vendor and source. And then don't just knock on your dealer's door. Make an appointment. Mr. Dealer, I need 20 minutes to share something with you. And share that calculator with him or her. Review your findings with the entire management team, because opportunity costs matter to every single person in the dealership. And the more we understand our opportunity costs, the more money each of you make. Lastly, and I know it sounds like I'm pitching, but I promise you that it's not click-through rates and bounce rates and traffic numbers that we need to consider. We need to consider our engagement, our cost per engagement, all of those metrics, our form completion rates. And if you're participating in the PCG engagement project, you'll be glad that you did. So with that, Eliana, let's turn it on to Q&A, and we'll open up for some questions.
I cannot wait. All right, audience, where are your questions? Send me some questions so we have a nice Q&A session. All right, before we do that, I do want to direct your attention over to the handouts section of the GoToWebinar interface. I know the interface looks weird. They just updated it, but look for the word handouts. There's a little arrow next to it. Click on that and the handout section will open up, and in there you're going to find 3 great handouts. First of all, you're going to get a copy of Ron's slide deck. If you'd like to download that, you have until the end of this presentation to do so. Now, that really cool opportunity cost calculator, yeah, he's giving you a copy of that Excel spreadsheet. Yes, you can download that as well. I can't imagine why anyone wouldn't want that. You better download that. And then the third one is 3 new marketing rules. Ron, is there anything you want to say about that? I don't actually know what that is. Is it an article that you wrote?
Yeah, it's an article that we wrote a few months ago, and it stands today. As a matter of fact, I continue to get comments about that article, and people talk about it. But it's about focusing on conversion. It's sort of the genesis around when we really say, hey, listen, there's conversion, there's opportunity cost, there's engagement. Those things matter because we have far more traffic on our website than we know what to do with, meaning dealers. And so let's focus on converting and getting more of those people off the website into the showroom and into the car, right? That's the genesis of that article.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Okay, so there you have it. 3 wonderful handouts for you. Make sure you download those now until the end of this broadcast. You have Ron's slide deck, 3 new marketing rules, that's an article, and then that really super cool Excel spreadsheet that has the opportunity cost calculator, all from your friends over at Pure Influencer. So definitely get all of those handouts. All right, before we go any further, oh yes, it's that time. Hey, Ron, let's turn on our webcams, because we're going to be giving away some prizes now. So if you missed it at the beginning of the webinar, I announced that our good friends over at Pure Influencer are giving away some awesome prizes today on the webinar. First, 2 lucky webinar attendees are going to win a Pure Influencer coffee mug. Ron, where's your coffee mug? Don't you have one to show us?
You know what? I got one. I'm drinking coffee out of it right now. Bam.
Beautiful. All right, so we're going to give away a couple of those, and then we're going to give away a grand prize. So 1 lucky webinar attendee is going to win 1 free month of live offer conversion platform that helps your dealership convert more visitors and sell more cars. But first, let's give away some coffee mugs. All right, so everyone get to your keyboards. First person to write in the correct response to one of our giveaway questions is going to be a winner. Make sure as soon as I say your name and that you're the winner, you write in your dealership, where you're from, and a mailing address would be helpful as well. All right, so here we go, everyone. Oh, I'm sorry. Please, vendors, we love you. You know we do. I'm a vendor. He's a vendor. But we're going to ask you to please sit this out. These prizes are intended for dealership personnel only. All right, everyone. Here we go. Good luck. What does CPE stand for? And for those of you that may not be able to hear me through this microphone, that's Charlie Papa Echo. Ooh, we already have a winner. That's right. Cost per engagement. All right, hold on a second. Let me see who wrote that one in. Amanda Marcel. Marcel. Amanda, that is a name. Amanda Marcel. I don't think you've been a winner here before. So congratulations. Yes, it is cost per engagement. I think she's a first-time winner. Amanda, right back in and confirm. She's with Coyle Chevrolet in Clarksville, Indiana. Hey, it's nice out there in Indiana. Yes, it's her first time winning. Ah, well, congratulations, Amanda. So glad that you came to today. Look at you. You're a winner, Amanda. Hey, don't forget to send me your mailing address so we can get that coffee mug out to you. Now, Amanda, you're already a winner today, my friends. I'm going to ask you to please sit this one out and let some other people win a cool prize on today's DealerOn webinar. All right, everyone. Next prize is another Pure Influencer mug. Good luck. According to the 2015 Cox Automotive study, what percentage of showroom traffic was driven by the internet? No one's gotten it right yet. Oh, yes, so I spoke too soon. Chris Villegas, 37%. Congratulations, Chris. We talked about this earlier, didn't we, Chris? Now that Brad's not here, Chris is starting to win.
That's funny.
37%. Congratulations. Okay, and you're with Street Auto Group, I think, Chris? Yep, Street Toyota in, I don't know what city you're in. Amarillo, Texas. Darn it. Gosh, I really need to drink more coffee. Okay, congratulations. Okay, Amanda and Chris, you guys are big winners today. You can sit this one out. We got one more prize to give away. And yes, the answer was 37%. All right, so just to reiterate, we're giving away 1 free month of live offer. It's the conversion platform that helps your dealership convert more visitors and sell more cars. With live offer, you customize and manage a conversion strategy that's optimized for your dealership's unique value propositions and laser focused on your highly engaged visitors. This prize is valued at $995. Good luck, everyone. You would have had to been paying really, really, really close attention or be really fast at Google to get the answer to this one. All right? Good luck, everyone. According to Google's online automotive shopper study, how many digital interactions did one shopper have leading up to her lease? Well, I'm going to have to give it, the very first person wrote in the correct number. Congratulations, Jeff Ravilla. I don't really know how to say it, but Jeff, you're our winner. He wrote in 910. We were looking for anything over 900. Congratulations, Jeff. Jeff, where are you from, dude? I'm writing it down. That means it's official. From Smale. Jeff is from Smale Auto Group. Oh, you're a 4-time winner, are you? Congratulations to Amanda Marcel, Chris Villegas, and Jeff Ravilla. You are all winners today on the DealerOn webinar. Congratulations. You're going to be hearing about how to claim those prizes from our good friends over at Pure Influencer. Now, for all you other people who didn't win, I know we had 3 cool prizes today. Not everyone can be a winner, but I just want you to remember Ron is kind enough to give everyone that really cool discounted offer if you'd like to try out Pure Influencer. So thank you very much for that, Ron. And you know what? We give away cool prizes every week. So come on back to another DealerOn webinar. And who knows, that could be the week you win a cool prize on the DealerOn webinar. But for right now, we want to send congratulations to Amanda Marcel, Chris Villegas, and Jeff Ravilla. And of course, we got to thank our good friends over at Pure Influencer for their incredible generosity. So with that, Chris says, take that, Brad. That's so funny. All right. All right. With that, are you ready for questions from the audience, Ron?
I am.
Okay. Let's go to the next slide so everyone has your contact information. Oh, I guess 2 slides.
There we go.
We know what we're doing here. We kind of know what we're doing. There we go. All right. Actually, our first question is from our first winner, Amanda. She says, other than a coupon, lead form, etc., what have you found that really boosts engagement and or conversions? Is there anything we can do to our websites to really help out? I know some people love pop-up coupons and other people hate pop-up coupons, for instance. So, I mean, anything from your research that you found has really, really made a difference?
You know what we found is, it's an interesting question, by the way, many stores are now beginning to survey their customers, right, their internet customers, about the experience online. So what you want to do is make sure your inventory is accessible quickly. You want to make sure that you have all photos. Customers really just, again, it's still, people who are shopping don't want to see a stock photo. They want to see a blank, photo coming. So to the extent that you can make sure you have quality photos, you want to answer as many questions as you possibly can quickly for that visitor. Your visitors want to know, do you have the car? What's its price? What are the features? Then they also want to know, how does that price compare to other vehicles? They do. They want to know the reviews. What are the professional reviews and consumer reviews? There's a lot of questions that people have when they get to your site, and if you can do as much as you can to answer those questions quickly, you're going to increase engagement and you're going to increase conversion even without a conversion tool. And by the way, a DealerOn website does that very well, but also you need to work with your inventory management company to make sure that you're supplying the right inventory, the right photos, and those sorts of things.
Okay, wonderful. And thank you so much for saying such kind things about DealerOn. Amanda, thank you so much. If you have a follow-up question, we'd love to help you out. Okay, we only have a handful more of questions, and then we're going to close out the show. So if you have questions, audience, get those questions in. All right, next question is from Kayla. Kayla says, do you have anything on your site breaking down the calculator tool or using it thoroughly some more so I can show the others on my management team?
I'll share it with you, absolutely. What we don't do is we don't put it on our site. It's an evolving sort of calculus, if you will. The more we learn, and the more information we get from our clients, we're able to add to that tool. We use that tool for the majority of our clients as they try to understand. And if you share an email with me, I'll send it to you and you can use it. Or we can get on an online session and we can walk through it together.
She says, thanks. She gave her email address. Hey, Kayla, don't forget to write down his email address as well, okay? Bug the crap out of him. He's the nicest guy ever, okay? All right, here we go. Last few questions. Amy wrote in, when looking at internet leads, do you include the lead that the salesperson has been working with for weeks? So if the lead sales, is it a internet lead or a showroom lead?
Interesting question. And that's a debate we've had for a long time, right? One of the things that we look at is when you get a lead today, let's say that Eliana is our internet salesperson and she's working with an internet lead. And that person then either gets incentivized by one of your conversion tools or by something that happens in the showroom, and then they end up buying a car. What we first want to look at is the fact that you sold the car, right? That's most important. And then your question really speaks to who really gets sort of the credit for that sale. And think about it in terms of what happens in your showroom. The analog works this way. Those of us who've been in the showroom know this. Let's say I'm a salesperson. I do a wonderful meet and greet. I do a super demo. I get the customer in the showroom. I do a great five-liner. We're sitting down, we're having a great conversation. They love the vehicle, and then they say, okay, cool, Ron, I'll be back tomorrow to make this purchase. And for all the objection handling I use, they get up and start to leave. And then my sales manager comes by. He puts his hand in their hand. They talk briefly, and then they decide they're going to buy the car today. Does that mean I didn't contribute to the sale? Does that mean I did something poorly? No, it means that there was another sales accelerant. So look at it in that context. It happens in a virtual world as well as in your showroom world.
Amy, does that answer your question? If it doesn't, hey, follow up with another one. I'm here for you, girl. All right, thank you so much for that great question. All right, next question comes in from DJ. DJ says, outside of serving up an offer to engaged website users, any other suggestions to improve the websites itself to improve engagement?
Certainly, it's just like we talked about in the first question, right? So you want to look at the experience, first mobile, right? It's a mobile first world, so you can do it yourself. Look at the experience, share your website with your friends and your family. Ask them neutrally, particularly people who already bought a car and they're not in the market. Just get their genuine input on the experience of both your website mobile and your website on the desktop. Talk to your customers. I would encourage you, if you've got customers that frequent your service department a lot and they're just regular customers, take a moment to go talk to them about the experience on the website. They'll give you great insight about what's frustrating, what doesn't answer their questions, etc. And oftentimes just making small changes on your website in terms of increasing the user experience drives a lot of conversion.
Agreed to that. All right, DJ, thank you so much for that question. All right, next question comes in from Mike. He wants to know, how much should we be spending a month to improve conversions, and does that number change depending on the size of the dealership? And he just wrote in a follow-up question. He says, is there a formula to figure out how much we should be spending on conversion? That comes from Mike.
Yeah, there is. Absolutely there is. And that opportunity cost calculator will help you do that, right? Because you can then put in a given vendor and say, okay, cool, this vendor is recommending I spend this. And this vendor is recommending, or I can see that I'm driving X number of leads from this particular conversion tool. And then you certainly can compare that to all of the other sources from your lead providers and recognize not only the return on investment, but also the opportunity cost with respect to the other engaged visitors on your site.
Okay, Mike, I hope that answered your question. All right, last question, then we're going to close out the show. Last question comes in from Kathy. Kathy wants to know, what was the discounted offer again? Can you tell us one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. Our list price is $9.95. The discounted offer is $8.95 a month.
And so what do they have to do to get that discount?
Well, first of all, they have to raise their hand. They have to reach out to us and then let us show them what they get. Then we go through some of this analysis with them to make sure it's the right fit for them. And then they get signed up. There's an installation fee that we get them all set up, we get them turned on, and then they rock and roll from there.
And they just have to say that they were on the DealerOn webinar?
We'll see their name on the list, won't we?
Yes, I guess we will. All right, Kathy, giddy up. All right, thank you so much, Ron. This was amazing. Audience, I hope you agree. I loved this presentation. So, Ron, I want to thank you so much. First-time presenter on the DealerOn webinar. I am quite certain it will not be your last, my friend. You were amazing. Excuse me, spectacular.
There you go. Absolutely spectacular. Thanks,
Very spectacular. I want to remind the audience a link to download a copy of today's webinar recording is going to be emailed to you later on for your reference. Please feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues and management. Please. Today's webinar is also going to be posted online within 24 hours. Just go to DealerOn.com/webinars, and from there you'll be able to view our upcoming webinar schedule or access any of our past webinars too. Also, at the conclusion of this webinar, you're going to get a short survey, real short. It is 3 questions. Please fill it out. We're always looking for quality feedback from our audience. We want to know what you thought of today's presentation, so let your opinion be heard. And yes, DealerOn will be exhibiting and presenting at the upcoming Digital Dealer Convention in April 11th through the 13th in Tampa, Florida. It's a great convention. So if you're going to be there, we want you to stop by booth 411. Easy to remember. I'm going to be there, so stop by and say hi. Check out the incredible speaking sessions by Greg Gifford and Sean Rains. That's the beard and the hair. Remember, it's booth 411. Hope to see you there. And invitations will be going out tomorrow for our next DealerOn webinar, our first DealerOn Academy Automotive Marketing Briefing of 2017. So I want you to join members of the DealerOn executive team as they discuss current automotive marketing updates, industry perspectives, and best practices. This is a highly interactive webinar where the majority of time is dedicated to Q&A from the audience. The collective knowledge of DealerOn's leadership team includes retail automotive, marketing, technology, mobile, and service experience. So don't miss the first 2017 Automotive Marketing Briefing with the DealerOn executive team. This is your opportunity to ask questions and hear from one of the most knowledgeable leadership teams in the automotive industry. So please join us. Don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are held Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific. We have some incredible webinar subjects planned for 2017, but if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding our webinars and our topics, hey, track me down. I'd love to hear from you. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'm everywhere. I'm on Google+, Facebook, Twitter. I'm on all the automotive social networks. You can also just email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and I hope to see you all on another webinar in our continuing education series. Take care.